right, me and Evie are back with This Week at Tassi, my weekly news roundup show. And yeah, there's been a ton of news over the past few weeks. This week could top it just based on probably the two biggest stories of the week. I might as well start with those. I'm kind of going in reverse order of what's happened this week as I usually do. What else am I talking about? It's the Grand Theft Auto 6 delay, which was announced early this morning, where unfortunately I was out and could not cover it for like 4 hours, which was really stressing me out. I called this forever, pretty much as soon as they said it was releasing in fall 2025. I was just like, yeah, okay. But, as long as it kept going, the Strauss Zelnick of Take-Two was like, no, investors, this is happening, fall, believe us. And, that's as recently as like the last earnings call. Sure enough, guess what happened? As it turns out, the first announced release window for the biggest game of all time is not actually going to be when it comes out. It has been delayed to May 26, 2026. So that is just over a year from now. And then, I don't know, 6-8 months, somewhere in there of, after when it was going to come out in the fall. So that is a significant delay. It's not like they delayed it to like January 2026. May, depending on when it launches, is close to halfway through the year. I guess a third of the way if it's like May 1st. But I don't know. It's totally expected. This was not a big shock. This has a lot of implications for the industry as a whole. Obviously, the big news point here is that games no longer have to stress out about when GTA will be out this fall. So you can plan your release dates accordingly, like it's a normal year. There was all these little song and dances trying to like schedule around Borderlands because they thought Take-Two wouldn't drop GTA too close to Borderlands because it's the same company. And Borderlands moved up early. Marathon is 2 weeks after that now. Ghost of Yotai is 2 weeks after that ish. Also, but now we're going to start seeing bigger games dated. Call of Duty is probably the biggest one. Is Fable still supposed to come out in the fall, or did that get delayed already? I mean, if it didn't, that's getting delayed, like, obviously. Besides that, there's going to be a bunch of other games that are now able to plant themselves in the holiday release window. This has implications for Take-Two as a company because they were promising investors this would be out in 2025, and they said repeatedly it would be out in the fall. And, there's some reporting that even those within Rockstar did not actually believe that this date was real. Like, they couldn't believe it was happening. And, from the outside, it didn't seem likely either. But they just kept saying it. So now Take-Two stock is down, I don't know, like 7-8% or something. Last time I looked. Because this is even outside the fiscal year, because the fiscal year ends in March, so this is fully 2026. So I don't know if you lied to investors, but you certainly said something repeatedly that seemed very unlikely. So here we are. And then it has an actual date. So if you're releasing a game in the spring, you just really avoid, May 26th. So I think people will stop releasing games in early May, and I think no one will release any games in June. That is my prediction, based on the what we know here. This is going to set every initial sales record ever. I'm pretty sure. I don't see a reason where it wouldn't. The only exception being that it's not on PC, which seemed like, I get, 13 years ago not doing that, but like now it seems insane to not launch a game on PC. Of course, we know why we're doing it. They're doing it so they can sell a different PC copy later, but weird. Also, we don't know what the price is yet because almost assuredly it's going to be at least $80. And that leads to my next point. So the other big story of the week is Microsoft just dramatically yanked up prices on all of its hardware. I did a whole video about this yesterday. In response to Trump tariffs, without naming Trump tariffs and refusing to comment on whether this is about Trump tariffs, they upped prices anywhere from $80 to $130, I think was the highest for like the 2 terabyte Series X to, put Series S at like 400 and above. Xbox Series X, like 550, 600, I think 730 is the top one. Yeah. Just exorbitant price increases. And, this is in console generations, you normally see prices go down over time if you're not releasing new hardware. Like, yes, if you're releasing PS5 Pro or something that's more expensive than these other consoles, but these are the same consoles. They're just way more expensive now. And the obvious reason for this is that a lot of production and parts and stuff for Xboxes come from China. There is now I don't know, it was 120% tariff. It was like 145%. Who knows? It might go up. At this point, we are literally in a trade war with China, and prices are going up on a ton of stuff. And this is kind of the first blow of what's being, the blow being dealt in the video game industry. To Microsoft's credit, it does not seem like they will be the only company to do this. Sony did raise some hardware prices a little while ago in different regions, but this is America's trade war. And, that does affect the rest of the world, hence prices going up kind of everywhere. But in America specifically, yeah, I'm going to guess we're going to see PlayStation increases too. It's not like PlayStation needs to catch up in sales with Xbox. Like, Xbox sales are already dismal, and this will only make them worse. I wonder if they view this as a way to just drive more people to Game Pass, to stream Game Pass on whatever, your handheld or your laptop or TV or whatever. But yeah, I mean, Xbox sales were down 35% like every quarter. So now they're just going to, I don't know, not sell any units at all. Just no more Xbox sales. I don't know. Nintendo's weird because they said ahead of time they did not price in like economic conditions or upcoming tariffs, theoretical tariffs at that point, to the $450 price of the Switch 2. They have preemptively, they saw like, way past this or way before this, they saw conflicts coming with China. So they moved some of their production to Cambodia and Vietnam, which then got hit by huge tariffs that have now been reduced significantly, but they are not fully out of China and they're still relying on China for some stuff. So we don't know if that's going to, up the price even more, but $450 for a new Nintendo console is already sort of pushing it, especially when the Switch launched at $300. Yeah, inflation, but like it's still a large price hike. Oh yeah, I forgot the other part of this that I was going to mention. Microsoft has announced they're going to do $80 first party games, at least some. This is what everyone thought would happen after Nintendo said that Mario Kart World would be $80. So now everyone's like, yeah, we just did the $70 increase, but now what if we did an $80 increase? And what's cited here is, I don't know, the economy, raised prices of production budgets and things like that for new games. This is not a tariff thing because, I mean, all these digital sales, there aren't tariffs on digital goods. So they kind of announce these at the same time as a little bit of a trick to, spoon feed in that tough medicine in relation to something that is related to the tariffs. I mean, it sucks. There's no way around it. Like, we had 60 for so long and now it's already up $20 in a few years. I certainly think you can make the argument that some games are worth $80, depending, but every first party game from these companies, that's what it's going to be soon. And then what else? Oh, is Call of Duty going to be $80? Like, bet your ass it's going to be at some point. And I guess that's technically Microsoft first party now. So probably this holiday, it'll be $80. But then, we're seeing all these examples of like, I'll get into this game later. Clear Obscure Expedition 33 is $50. Easy Game of the Year contender Blueprints was, I don't know how much that was, $30. It's cheap. Like, they're some of the best games that are out right now are cheaper than this $80 price point. And you can say, oh, like games, should cost this much because of production and blah, blah, blah. Like, guess what? If the economy sucks, if all these tariffs are happening, people have less money to buy video games. So if you don't think sales are going to go down, in conjunction with other factors, I don't know what to tell you. But yeah, we'll see. Sucks. All right, moving into, I guess, less impactful stories. The Arc Raiders closed alpha began this week. It is the second technical test for the game. It's a new extraction shooter from the company that made, is it Evoke? I don't know. Embrace? I don't know what it's called. The studio that made the finals. It is a much more traditional extraction shooter. I'll get into Marathon in a second. It is, very much moving close to Tarkov. It is less hardcore than Tarkov, and it is a lot more updated than Tarkov in terms of how it looks. Like the sound design is incredible, like so stellar. And then, kind of its gameplay systems, but it's very much a traditional extraction shooter in the sense that it's got things like proximity chat and crafting and home bases and like a solos mode and just general gameplay, like skulking around, opening things, and it's very, generally not action oriented. Very very brief bursts of action, and it's been received pretty positively. It seems ready for release. I originally said that because Marathon had a date, September 23rd, and September 23rd, and Arc didn't, it would probably come out after this. I think I've changed my mind on that. I subscribe to this theory that they're probably just going to Embark. Is it Embark Studios? That they're probably just going to shadow drop this sometime over the summer, probably at Summer Games Fest, because that's what they did with the finals. And I mean, playing the game, it seems pretty close to done. Like it doesn't seem like it's lacking polish. It just, it's a live game. They're going to balance things and improve things over time. But like, Marathon is closed alpha that's supposed to be NDA, very much, it needs work, obviously. But this is like, yeah, this could probably launch tomorrow for all I know. This isn't to say this is going to be some, huge, massive success. The extraction shooter genre is still not that widespread outside of Tarkov, and I almost wrote about this today, but like this trend of everyone making extraction shooters now, and like the Titanfall one was canceled, and like this seems very unproven to me. So good luck to all these games, but I don't know how many of these are going to last. Arc Raiders is also $40, so it is entering at a quote premium price and not a free to play offering. That's Tarkov costs money too, but that could work against it just as much as it could work against Marathon. So, we'll see what happens with that. As for Marathon, I'm not going to go into the quality of it all again, but that that alpha is winding down. It's been a bit weird, not just because of the content, but like the player trend lines have been really downward sloping, even as new codes are going out. It just is not really stopped declining, at least from what we can see on PC. And it's just, if it's declining, if numbers are like 20% of what they were at launch, like why aren't they introducing more codes? Like there's so many people really, really mad they have not gotten codes. Like this is probably a good indicator for potential player numbers, but there are like hundreds of thousands of people in the Discord trying to get codes, and how many have been issued? Like, very few. And of the ones that were, if it's like 20, 30,000, I don't know. Like if 80% of those players have dropped off, why not, give more codes? And they like, people are like, oh, well, they got what they wanted to out of this test, and like they don't need to have more people. They said they were giving out codes every day, like, through the end of the alpha, which ends tomorrow and is apparently not being extended, because we would have heard about that, I think, by now. And that they issued a balance patch like a day or two ago. So like, why would you bother like rushing out a balance patch if you're still not letting more people in or extending the alpha so people can play it for like 72 hours? I don't understand what's going on there. So what we learned about Marathon, over the course of the last week or so, is that they did like a big Q&A thing. I covered that, but a main point is that it appears there's going to be more than one test before launch. So we knew about the open beta that's supposedly in August, but probably one more closed alpha is my guess. This one was kind of rushed out because it was supposed to be NDA'd. It was very much supposed to be like, this is not necessarily going to be public, even if, everything would have leaked anyway. But now I think they might understand that they need to do at least one with a little more polish and letting a little more people in, because this one was sort of like on the fly, freewheeling. It was tough. Let's just say this went tough. And, I have a lot of concerned feelings about how this is going to go, and we'll talk about that another time. But there will be probably at least 2 more chances to play the game for free before launch. If you don't get into the next closed alpha or whatever it's going to be, open beta is a big moment of truth for the game. Then you have to convert people from the open beta to paying $40. So we'll see. Winding down here, my last news item is just a news item for me, in that I am playing Claire Obscure Expedition 33, and it is stunning. It's so good. I've been skeptical of like a lot of recommendations lately, where like I'm kind of just in my little corner of games I like and usually play, and you know me and my looter shooters and whatever. But first it was Blueprints. Blueprints is like some cozy puzzle game, and I'm like, okay, and that was amazing. That was probably my game of the year before this week. That's an incredible game. Certainly play that. But Expedition 33 is It's crazy. I can't get over how this game existed from like 30 people in France and then like a bunch of contractors and stuff. Like the music was composed by a guy they found on SoundCloud. Somehow they landed Charlie Cox for this. Like it, like how have they done all of this? And the key thing for me is that I don't like turn-based RPGs. I will play them. I usually drop off. I famously have not enjoyed some games like Baldur's Gate 3, a very, very, very turn-based game. Even though I can fully respect it's an amazing game, it's just like it's not for me, and like everything doesn't have to be for everybody. Uh, this it's night and day. This has been the first turn-based combat system I've enjoyed since I don't know Pokemon, like Pokemon when I was like 11. Uh, it blends these real-time combat mechanics, parrying, dodging, perfect attack with actual turn-based strategy. I know other games have done this, but I would say of the ones I've seen, this one does it better. It is more of a core concept of combat as opposed to sort of like a side edition. Like it is combat. And this has resulted in some like pretty crazy, battles and scenarios where it's like, yeah, you build up defense in life and all this stuff. But, I had a clutch, boss battle the other day where I sent in my reserve team if all your teammates die. And I like did perfect dodging for like 12 minutes with one character to slowly whittle this boss down. And I got him. And I was like, oh my God. And then I like passed out. Story's amazing. Story's incredible. Voice work is incredible. Animation's incredible. Character design, environment design, sound design, the gameplay systems, not even just combat, how you stack up upgrades and, farm for materials to do specific upgrades, how you find, secrets on the map, which gives you good weapons and good moves and like currency, how exploration works with these specific levels and then these big overland maps. And I'm not even done. I'm like at the end of Act 2, which in a normal game, this would seem like the end based on what I'm doing, but I know it's not. And I know there's even more craziness coming. I was promised some big craziness at the end of Act 1. There was big craziness at the end of Act 1. If you're going to talk about this game in the comments, please don't spoil anything, both for me and anyone who's going to play it. I recommend everybody play it. I don't care if you don't like turn-based games. I am like the biggest turn-based game hater ever. Doesn't matter. This game's amazing. It's $50. You should play it. Another side effect of Grand Theft Auto 6 moving out of this year is that something else can win Game of the Year. And like, not that it was fully guaranteed it would win, but I mean, it's Grand Theft Auto. So, there's a lot of really great games out already. Split Fiction, Blueprints and this are like the highest scoring ones right now. But, people are telling me that they think Kingdom Come Deliverance should be Game of the Year. Death Stranding 2 is coming out. So it's a lot of games, and now one of those is going to for sure win instead of GTA, and that's not really a factor now. I vote for this. I haven't played everything, but I vote for this. I probably still vote for this, even just making leaps of logic. But anyway, that's some of the news from this week, including some pretty major stories. But yeah, so I'll do like a marathon alpha retrospective, probably next Monday or something, to kind of just go through that and how it went in the end. And then there's going to be a big Destiny showcase on the Tuesday there on March 6th. So anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.